Welcome to episode 322 of the Game Deflators podcast. My name's John, and I'm joined by Ryan.
Hey, everybody, here at the Game Deflators podcast, we like to talk about games we've recently picked up, games we're currently playing, and we first cause in this week's Inflation Deflation Challenge.
Some people are really going to get that, or they're not at all.
Well, and it doesn't say it in that voice, but that's the voice I imagine it would say it in.
Yeah, it's kind of like that first cause.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So we played Psychosis on the TurboGrafx-16 Mini this week. Of course, we'll talk about it in its entirety and the full price point that it gets outside of a Mini later on in the episode for inflation deflation. But Ryan, tell us what else we are going to learn and talk about today.
This week, we'll talk a bit about game links, and I think Nintendo needs to get a new Plumber because we might be getting an early launch due to them. And then Sony might be reaching back into the past for the games of the future. And finally, we close it all out with the inflation deflation.
And before we go ahead and kick things off with our recent pickups and what we're currently playing, you can find us on thegamedeflators.com. If you're watching, it's actually right there on the bottom of us on our little bar. You can also find us on social media at Game Deflators on X, at The Game Deflators on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and Blue Sky. There's so many. If I had a fifth one to that, I might just say find us on social media. You can also find us on YouTube. So if you're watching, thanks, appreciate it. Hit the little bell so you know when we're on. And then, of course, if you're listening to a podcast on a podcast application, like, subscribe, and comments. We always appreciate that as well. So all interaction is good interaction. All right. Recent pickups. I see you have NA on yours. I actually do have a pickup. I got Star Ocean Second Story R on PS5.
I think I've heard good things about that. I've never played any of the Star Oceans, but I would be interested in checking them out.
Well, Second Story is Second Story, which was released on the PS1 and I want to say Super Nintendo, or it might have just been First Departure on the Super Nintendo, but it's been on the PS1 for sure, the PSP, and then of course PS5 as this like 2D HD remake type of deal. So I don't know. Apparently, it's a great looking game. I played it years ago. I beat it a long time ago. It's one of my top 5 RPGs of all time. So I highly recommend it if you have not played Star Ocean. And then, of course, you got this out now. And I want to say this was $20. I want to say is what I paid. Its normal rate is about $40. So not a bad deal on that one. And then, I got some other stuff actually. So Epic Game Store. I went ahead and just signed up recently because they give away free games like all the time.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah. That's their whole spiel.
Yeah, I did not really realize this until it was too late in the Christmas season because they gave away a lot.
Yeah.
So today, the day that we are recording.
Haven't we talked about that?
Probably, and I just didn't think about it twice.
Do you know Amazon gives away free games too?
They do, but I'm not signing up for them.
You don't have a Prime account?
I do. Kingdom Come Deliverance. I got that one. And then the other one that I got was this morning. It was their secret game. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I don't know where it's at. But I got another game today. I don't remember.
What was it?
Oh. I don't know. I forgot. Oh, here it is. I have to check my email. It's Hell Let Loose was the other one.
Cool.
Cool. It says $50 normal price. So, I mean, free. Cool. I'll take it. But I'm kind of pissed because I missed out on Dredge and a couple other ones that had come out.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. So, wait, do you have them?
I mean, I bought Dredge on Switch last year.
Yeah, I was going to buy it on PS5 at some point. I think they have a new version or like a Game of the Year type edition that's coming out. I don't remember.
I think it was one of my top games of last year.
I don't know. Oh, I might be mistaken it for another one. But either way, I missed out on that one. And I kind of wish I didn't. But it's whatever. I like physical games, but I'll collect the digital stuff just, if down the road I'm like, oh, yeah, I want to play X game. And I have it now. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's free. It's not like I'm putting any money into it. So that was that. And then as far as what I'm currently playing, Plague Tale Requiem is consistently annoying me with its buggy mess. And,
is it really?
Yeah. So I went through did I tell you about the arrow when I shot the arrow? And what was happening with that? Oh yeah.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So get ready for this one. Um, so I got through like up to chapter 7, and we meet up with this guy who had at some point been trying to actually like kill us. And I guess we did enough damage that he no longer wants to kill us, right? He's now joined forces with us. And we're looking for his boat and some smugglers, right? To be able to get us his island for Hugo. And as we get down there, he falls into his crevasse, I guess. And there's rats everywhere. And so you have to light up a fire really quick to help him. Well, so in that area, there's a bunch of arrows. Well, I can make fire arrows. So I figure, oh, I got to shoot him like on his shield or his armor really quick. So that way he's stuck with fire, right? Like it would make sense. He's got like heavy armor on. So if it just sticks in on his shield, because he's got a wood shield, he's good. So I fire an arrow and it's like, oh, thank you so much. Like the light is helping me. And then I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I do see like a little lantern. I'm like, oh, well, let me light the lantern as well. So I go ahead and hit the lantern. That's lit up. So after that's done, we're like, okay, cool. We have to complete X puzzle. I finish it up. Fire arrows still lit on him. Like, okay, like surprised this hasn't gone out yet. So we progress. We get to the very end, and then at some point, we're talking to him. You know, my main character. I don't know why I'm forgetting her name all of a sudden, and Hugo, and we're just kind of sitting there, and then she slowly starts moving to the rats in this dark area. I'm like, what are you doing? And she's just slowly moving to the rats. And I have this all on live stream, so catch it on YouTube if you want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And so she gets eaten. I'm like, well, what the hell? So I start up that area again, right? And when I kick it back on, the fire's still lit on his body. I'm like, all right. So I progress through again, get to the area I need to get to. And then when he starts walking up to climb up, this area, he pauses and he's frozen in mid-area. I'm like, the hell? So I go and kill my character. So then I start it up again. He makes his way up and he's talking to me. He says, all right. Arrow goes out at this point. He's like, light my shield and I'll help us get through the rats. And he just stands there. I'm like, okay. I shoot an arrow on his shield and he's still standing there. He's not moving. I'm like, okay. Do I have to like shoot it again? Do I shoot it 4 times? I keep shooting. I run out of fire arrows. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll kill my character. Start it again. Same shit. He's just standing there with an arrow. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So then finally, he I go, okay, let me just go ahead and restart this part of the chapter altogether. So I close it out, open the game back up, no arrow on him at all. Like it's not lit up. I say, okay, we're good. I go through the whole process. I get there. He turns around, arrow on shield lit up, and then he won't move. Like, are you kidding? I restarted again. And then he's just standing there and he says, all right, light my shield. And there's no shield in front of him. It's still on his back. I'm like,
Oh my
what the hell?
God.
So I close out entirely again to the main menu. I go ahead and hit, and God, now I think about it, I hope that the streaming was still good. I close up the whole thing, go to menu, restart that chapter in general, get through what I need to get through. We get to that part, and then he's like, all right, follow my lead. And like he's turned around, arrows set up, we're ready to walk. And then my character slowly starts inching her way past him into the rats on her own without him moving. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. I think it took about 8 attempts, maybe 10,
Oh my God.
to get that to go correctly. And we finally make our way through. And then I didn't have any bugs for a little while longer. But it's been like consistent, dude. Like if you don't do something that the game wants you to do like perfectly, like it was
Mhm.
meant to happen, like if I just fired an arrow at some random area that I wasn't supposed to, or broke a chain on something that maybe didn't need to be broken, the whole game breaks.
Wow.
So I'm liking the story. The story's not bad overall, but it's just hard to get past like some of these
problems.
clear issues. And like I can't be the only one in the history of this game since it's been out that has shot an arrow at that man on fire and let it stick. I cannot be the only person that's ever done this. So it's just baffling to me that this keeps happening. Like you would think, considering how long the game has been out, that these types of bugs have been cleared up a long time ago, but clearly they have not. So
Well, and I thought this game had pretty good reception, so I thought that
it does.
it probably sold well enough and would have been well supported. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe it's a known issue or something. I'm not sure.
Well, some of them are like the one in chapter 2 with that, the horse and carriage. It gets stuck in the center of the area.
Mm-hmm.
That's well known. That's all over Reddit as like a
Okay.
very well known bug. It's still there.
Well, unfortunate.
Yep. All right. Well, I see you have no pickups. But what are you? Did you beat Bug Fables for us yet?
I did. I beat Bug Fables at like, I think it was like 10:27 a.m. on New Year's Day. So it's done. It's finished. It was really good.
Hold on a
I have,
sec. Hold on. You're supposed to get it done within 2024.
yeah, it was New Year's Eve. It was December 31st. I sent
Okay.
you a picture
Okay.
and I
All right.
posted it on Instagram
Well, the
and
days
linked
have been
it to our Instagram.
okay. I was just gonna say the days have been muddy. So
Yeah. I said New Year's Day. I meant New Year's Eve. So New Year's Eve at like 10 in the morning, I finished the game.
Damn.
It was good. The final boss did give me a little bit of trouble, but some of the bosses at the end I did have kind of a hard time with. I did a bunch of running from fights kind of near the end. There was a bunch of really strong enemies, and I was trying to like time my level ups and things to restore my stats and everything so that I could, keep pushing. Most of the game I fought like almost every battle that I could, and I felt like I was leveling up pretty good. Ultimately, I wound up putting most of my levels into the TP, or like your team points that let you do skills and special moves. So I was spamming like for the last battle, the first attempt, I was just like, I'm so strong. This guy doesn't have that much HP. I'm just gonna like wail on him early with a bunch of skills because I had a couple items that would like fully restore the points. And I just ran out of steam. The guy had like 3 forms. He kept like healing himself up by like the majority of his health. He had like 50 health and he healed by like 45 and then like 41. So you basically did the fight like 3 times. His patterns or moves changed like a little bit between, but in the end, I was just mostly focused on like, all right, let's just debuff his attack and debuff his defense a little bit so that we can, try to do as much damage, take as little damage, just really try to measure out the use of all my items. If you watch, there was a lot of like me just kind of scrolling through trying to plan like, okay, what's the move for this turn? And I think that the game had like a lot of good strategy. I don't feel like I really ultimately came up with like some kind of unique build or anything. So I'm sure there's a lot more of this game that I didn't do. Of your main party, Levi and Kabu, I did not do Leaf's like main side quest thing. But the game does let you resume playing after credits, which is cool. So
the new
there
game
might
plus.
be I think it just lets you keep going.
Oh, so you can like
Kind of
do
like a
side
Fallout
missions.
game.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
get it.
so I didn't do hardly like any of the side quests or anything. I really streamlined, push through this game. I guess I got it done a little bit early. The average said it was like 25 hours. I did it in like 23 and change, I think. Maybe just
Nice.
short of 24. So ultimately, I'm very happy with the game. I did not finish the Thousand Year Door remake, but I kind of set out to try to compare the two and see, what Nintendo would do with a remake of kind of the premier in-class title of that genre and what another studio would do with it. And I really like the changes that they made. And I think that, Nintendo would do well to maybe if they're going to turn things back in this direction, maybe take a few pages out of Bug Fable's book as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I
And then
am
the
excited but disappointed that you finished it.
yeah, I know you are, John.
Yeah.
I know everybody is. Maybe I won't finish Metal Gear Solid. Who knows?
Yeah, you will. It's like a 10-hour game, I think.
Is it really?
It's not that long of a game. It's pretty quick.
Yeah, but doesn't it have like hours of cutscenes, or is that all the later Metal Gears?
All the later ones. Let's see.
Oh,
Metal
okay.
Gear Solid. How long?
I actually didn't look up the how long to beat on that one.
Main story is 5.5 hours.
Okay, I will finish Metal Gear Solid.
If you don't finish Metal Gear Solid within 2025, you get like triple punishment.
Triple punishment.
It's gonna
Now
have
you,
to happen.
now you have to play the Metal Gear game that nobody likes. The
Yeah.
one
Oh
after
yeah.
Kojima left.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I'm more at risk to not finish than you are because I have to play Witcher on the PC.
Yeah, that's gonna be brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not the best one either. So, um,
No.
I, I, you know that horse meme where it has like the art and it shows like good horse, like really good artwork, and then it's like
Yeah.
sloppy like first grader. Yeah. So for Witcher, it's reversed. It's Witcher 1 and 2 have like the really bad art, and it's the majestic horse for Witcher 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how this goes. If I can really like sit down and enjoy this game, then I'll be able to move into number 2 and number 3 at no issue.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe Metal Gear Solid will be so short it'll leave me wanting more, and I can jump into 2 or 3. And I mean,
Yeah.
Delta remake is going to come out, or 3 remake, the Metal Gear Delta. That should be coming out this year,
Mhm.
so that might be worth checking out too.
Yeah, and Sons of Liberty isn't bad. Metal Gear Solid 2. It's a pretty good
Mhm.
game. Yeah, I enjoyed it. And then number 3 I haven't beat, but I did beat number 4 years ago, and I really enjoyed that as well.
4 is the one that I've always wanted to play because it just looked so good when the PS3 came out. It was just
Oh
like,
yeah.
and my friend Kevin was like, "Well, I can't let you play that one until you've played the other ones." And I was like, "What?"
Yeah, 4 is a very rare occasion where I actually pre-ordered a game.
Yeah.
Like, that game I did pre-order back then. So, totally worth
So
it.
the other thing I played this week, I got these Magic Foundations packs that I got around Christmas, not necessarily for Christmas, and they were a lot of fun. I've never played with Jumpstart. I guess they're Magic Foundations Jumpstart. So
Mhm.
each one is a 20 card pack that has a theme. So this is healers, it's a bunch of planes cards and lands. So you take 2 of these and you mix them together. So this one is too many. So this is like uh multiple creatures and like attacks. Pretty fun. So you just take any 2 packs, mix them together, and you've got a cool 40 card deck that you could just kind of spar with somebody with.
Hmm.
I got, let's see, I got healers and too many. I got dinosaurs, zealots, landfall, and burning.
Nice.
So lots of green, lots of red. I didn't get any blue or black ones, but I think there's like 30 to 40
Oh, Jay.
different
Jeez, man.
designs.
Interesting.
So yeah, there's lots more out there that I haven't gotten, and it's actually really fun to just kind of like crack 2 packs and just play. And it's not like, I love draft, but it takes an hour to get ready to draft.
Yeah, that's you just boot it up and like you're good to go. Or not boot it
Mhm.
up, but crack open a pack or two and you're good.
Yeah. The trickiest part, honestly, is if you take 2 of the same color and then you try to separate them out after the fact.
Oh yeah.
So it's like
Yeah,
I
that
mixed the landfall and the dinosaurs because I was like, that's going to be a good combination, putting out lands on the board and getting out big dinosaurs. But after the fact, it's like, okay, wait, which of these sorceries was which? I mean, most of them have like a dinosaur on them
yeah.
or do something with a landfall effect. So it's a little bit not that hard, but I still had to go back and try to look through online. And it's like, all right, is this dinosaurs 1, dinosaurs 2, dinosaurs 3?
Oh
And
my
it's like,
god. So there's like more than one dinosaur card set.
well, I don't know if it's from this or if it's just counting all of them because there's been multiple releases of Jumpstart over the years. So, like,
Yeah.
dinosaurs may have been in the original Jumpstart, and this is like the 3rd or 4th time they've done a
Mm,
Jumpstart pack with dinosaurs.
gotcha. Makes sense.
So,
Well, I'm open playing that at some point. So
yeah, it was definitely fun. So, I'm going to keep these like out and separate because, it's just kind of another alternative thing to do.
yeah, makes sense. You still playing One Piece and stuff?
Playing One Piece?
Yeah, well, not playing, but like messing around with the One Piece game, card game.
Oh, the One Piece card game. No, I mean, I was basically mostly just playing it with Zach, so he's moved now. He
Mm,
actually, the one of the last times we were hanging out, we went to a store and because they had just released like a new set not too long
mm-hmm.
ago, and we got 2 more starters and messed around with those a bit. It was kind of fun. I don't know, I think I might be kind of over it. Like maybe it was just kind of like a fad thing that I went through real quick, because it's like I really just don't have the, I don't know, the desire to like go out to a store and play, and also don't have the desire or funds to build like a couple 100 card deck to be able to do so and do it effectively. And I mean, I might bring him around and like mess around with him with you. I like the game,
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
but I mean, honestly, Pokemon TCG Pocket is filling a lot of my my card game fixation these days on the free.
Yeah.
So for Mythical Islands, that's still all I've been opening. I have 2 cards that I don't have. I don't have the non-full art Vaporeon, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't have a Gyarados EX. So those are the only cards from the base set. I really don't have a lot of like great full art cards. I mean, I've got some of the cool art ones, but like I don't have any of the like full art trainers or anything. And then
Yeah. Same here on the trainers. I don't have any full arts of them.
I was super pissed about that electric drop.
Yeah,
I only
same.
saw like 1 rare drop or
I
2.
saw
And
a
it's like
lot.
I just feel like I'm never gonna get a Magneton.
Let's see.
I just feel like
So
it's never gonna happen.
just use your packs to buy it. Or your pack points. I just opened up a pack right now. I didn't get anything, but I told you the other day I opened a pack and I got 2 Celebes out of the same pack.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah, and I was after I cracked a Celebi the day before. So with the Mythical Islands, just looking at it, I am missing quite a few actually. I'm missing 7 cards. I'm missing the Gyarados.
Okay.
I'm missing the Mew EX, and then several other cards. The Pidgeot, and of course the full arts. I'm missing pretty much every full art.
Man, you stopped opening before you got Mew?
Well, no, I've been opening again. I wanted to finish up and get the Mew out of the genetic Apex.
Yeah, I know. I need to switch back because I don't know when Genetic Apex stops, but I think that the Mythical Island stops on the 16th.
As in, like, it's not available anymore?
Yeah, I think that's when they're gonna stop doing the Mythical Island packs.
So then I should use my hourglasses for it then. Open up 10 packs, see if I can get the rest.
Yeah, there's probably gonna be like a passing time after you stop opening packs where you can still spend pack points, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
we'll kind of have to see. I mean, this is going to be the first time anything has happened like this in the game, so we'll see how
Yeah.
they address it, and then hopefully by the end of the month we get trading, because that's the thing I'm really holding off is like, since I've got 2 accounts, I'm waiting for trading to come out so that I can trade over stuff to my main account that
Yeah.
maybe I don't have, or don't have a full play set of copies of or something. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work,
Yeah.
but if that's kind of the case, I imagine what most people will do is just have 2 accounts and then reset the account every time like a new set comes out, so that you can get all those initial starter, pulls and free hourglasses, and just spend them on whatever the new set is.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
I guess we will.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of finding stuff out, leaks
Good one.
everywhere. Yeah. So there's been leaks all over the place for Nintendo, and I just kind of figured, let's doesn't have to be a long discussion, but are leaks good for the video game industry? And I will just kind of come out front with this and say I think they are. I see these leaks as beneficial to creating hype for Nintendo. I think it depends on what the leaks are in general, but like positive leaks should be good to be able to like generate hype on a free basis for the company, generate hype in general, and get people excited. I mean, that's really what it's about, right? Getting people excited for that next generation console. And by getting all the I say by getting all these leaks out as if Nintendo's in front of it and they're the ones causing it, which wouldn't surprise me. But by doing this, I think they're kind of separating the fact that like Switch and Switch 2, which they didn't really accomplish with the Wii and the Wii U. There was a lot of people that just didn't see the difference or just didn't buy because they weren't aware of it. I think these leaks are creating more awareness as to the fact that, hey, there's a new Switch console coming out.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for them to be able to do that. So we've had about a year and a half, 2 years of like, discussion and leaks and other things that have happened since then for like a Switch successor. I think it's even longer than that now, like 3 years. So
Probably.
yeah, I think it's been about 3 years. So yeah, there's been conversations going for quite some time on like a Nintendo Switch 2. I wish they would have gone Super Nintendo Switch, but of course they did not. Um, so I don't know. What are your thoughts, man? Good or bad?
So it it depends on who you ask, I think. I think um people at publishers are probably going to be more kind of accepting, and I think devs are going to be less accepting, because like in the case where we're talking about like, oh, what does the Switch 2 look like, what are its stats and performance is going to be. I mean, getting all those chips and everything, the motherboard is out there now apparently, so people are able to do their own detective work and see what they think it's going to be capable of. But that's kind of doing it short. It's kind of doing it a little bit dirty, because like Nintendo's obviously going to try to put on a biased, best, presentation that they can, that, and a lot of times game companies aren't exactly transparent. They show you one thing and then it's never really as good as it looks in the, CG trailers or whatever. But, being able to control your message in, release things the way you want to, as like somebody who's really close to the project, like the development team, I think they're the ones who kind of get it the worst. Like if a pre, alpha build gets like leaked because somebody, ransomwared the company, and now it's just out there and people are looking at it, and some people are judging this game based on something that is not, even current at this time, and it is in no way, a reflection of the final product. So it can kind of leave a flavor that, the dev didn't want out there, or maybe something changed, or whatever. And then it's always like, well, what if it was like the way that it used to be? It would have been so much better, or something. So
Yeah.
it can kind of go both ways, and I think it's really mostly just perspective. Like from our standpoint, yeah, bring on the leaks. That's the news. That's what I want to read about. That's what other people want to see. We want to know. We're all hungry consumers. So
Yeah, and then, to kind of get to your point too on the stuff, how it's not good, right? So with the new motherboard leak, right? I mean, who knows if this is actually a motherboard for the console that's been leaked out. It's showing a chip on there that was being used in like 2018. And a lot of people that have commented on it, at least from what I saw on Twitter, are saying, oh, well, 2018, like that particular chip is bad in terms of power, like it's bad for battery life. And then the overall processing is not that great, right? Like it's a massive power. What do you call it? I'm losing words.
suck.
This middle, yeah, power suck or whatever. Like it's not a great chip. And then the fact that it's 2018, 2020, I think is what one other person cited. Like, oh, it's not current tech. We were thinking it's going to be XYZ. In Nintendo's case, I mean, we kind of always knew that we were looking at essentially like a PS4 quality console to come out, right? They're always a generation behind on all of their tech. So, but the reason I bring this up is a lot of the comments I was seeing, and they're saying, well, I guess I shouldn't pre order it. Oh, I guess I shouldn't move forward with the Switch 2. Oh, this is going to be underpowered. Like it has this, there's like this false, not false, like it's technically going to be underpowered compared to like the current gen right now. But it's creating a negative space for that console that really doesn't need to be there. We all know Nintendo's like a generation behind. We all know that the way that they handle their consoles is through innovation and family type games, and they're not necessarily pushing boundaries as far as quality is concerned on their titles. It's more about having a fun experience. So to see people like all gun ho on tech right now is kind of funny. But this wouldn't be happening if there weren't any leaks. You know what I mean? Like, so
it Those kind of people, it's like, I remember my first Nintendo launch. Like
yeah.
it's just that same kind of thing we see in a lot of other parts of the game industry, where it's just like, it's it happens every time. The industry never learns or changes its tune. It's like every time a Dark Souls game comes out, we will have the discussion, of does it need to have a difficulty adjustment.
Nope.
Like
Nope.
these
Get good.
conversations happen every time. So, Nintendo's gonna Nintendo, and I think that this console is going to be just fine. You know what? If you want a more powerful console, get a PC.
There you go. I mean, it's really what it comes down to. Um, and then I guess diving into the first article here because it does tie in. So the article title is the Nintendo Switch 2's precise release date may have been leaked. So this one comes from Event Hubs. Um, so I mean, nothing crazy here. Just saying that uh, there's a leak that says that the console is going to be coming out on like March 28th, 2025. Considering we're in January, it's not a lot of buildup. So, I mean, I would anticipate within the next week or two, we would, if that's the case, in the next week or two, I would anticipate Nintendo to come out with an announcement and officially unveil those consoles. So, if there are any upcoming Switch Directs or we hear an announcement about a Switch Direct coming up, it will more than likely be a Switch 2 Switch Direct or
Yeah,
Nintendo Direct, I should say.
yeah, it's time. I mean, so much information is out there and so many eyes are on this at this time.
Yeah.
It's really time for Nintendo to do, say, show and tell, whatever it is. I hope that we kind of get everything in like one good concise presentation and we don't get some kind of like, here's a little tease and we'll have a full blown release of everything that you really want to know about next month. Because they
Yeah.
could do like, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. How big of a presentation are they going to do? How much is that going to be showing off the console? How much of that is going to be showing off new launch titles? How much of that is going to be showing off cross-gen titles that have been in the works, or explaining how your NSO transfers over, or what accessories are backwards compatible with the Switch 2? There's going to be so many things that you're going to want to hear and want to know, that it's like, do they just do something about the console and then they do like a games, presentation weeks later or something like that? Because I think isn't that what they did with the original Switch? They showed like a sizzle reel commercial and we saw like people playing Mario Kart, which was already out on the Wii U, so it wasn't like anything really being given away.
Yeah, that's what it was essentially. They showed the ability to like take all the controllers off and play with multiple people, laying like
Remember
4
that
of them on the
time we
table.
played in the car? And remember the time we all played at the basketball court? Remember the time we all played on the rooftop when it was like a party or something? It's like, no, none of that ever happened. You're all
No,
lying to yourselves.
you all are lying. That is correct. Remember the time that I sat in my bed and just kind of like put it on my nightstand and just played there? I've done that. That's about it. To be truthful, it should have been like, remember that time we played on the toilet and just have
Yeah.
them chilling on the toilet playing a game? Like, come on, use some you know, real life examples. That's what we need. Um,
The gaming never has to stop.
yeah, exactly. It never stops with Nintendo. What's that? You're at a funeral playing some Nintendo.
Wahoo!
So, yeah, I think we'll see some info soon. I think they'll do kind of like what you said, sizzle reel. Hey, console's coming out. This is what we have, a little bit about it. And then they might do something along the lines of like, and here's like our first 2 games that are coming out type of thing to hype it up.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. But I would predict next Nintendo Direct, it is going to be a Switch 2 featured Direct. Or they will
Yeah.
say it's not, and it will be. So
Yeah, it's gonna be something. Hopefully we don't have that much longer to wait.
yep.
So this week I've got PlayStation hits at nostalgic game franchise returns in new co-CEO statement. So the man himself, Herman Holst, co-CEO for PlayStation, he did a Famitsu interview recently where he went over a whole bunch of stuff. They talked about Concord's failure and how it hasn't ultimately dissuaded Sony from still pursuing the games as a service market. And they talked about a bunch of stuff, but the thing I kind of wanted to zone in on here is this Screen Rant article, and it's by Amir Duman. We all know what a hit Astrobot was now. So many Game of the Year titles, so much of what Astrobot is about is that nostalgia. Here's a bunch of characters from games you know. Here's a bunch of characters from games you don't know, maybe. Some obscure ones. You know, we're going to do some DLC, and there's going to be even more characters in there. But PlayStation certainly does have a huge backlog of games, and you know, they're no slouches at kind of taking a franchise, maybe reinventing it or reintroducing it, or you know, making a way to bring it forward. And you know, they've done some games like I want to say there was like a medieval game like a
Mm-hmm.
few years ago.
Yeah, Medieval came out 1 and 2, remade on the PS4.
Yeah, so I mean, that's one of the ones that always stands out in my mind as like a classic PS1 title. You know, we've had Crash remade, we've had Spyro remade, but there's still so much room in their back catalog. And with like the PlayStation 30th anniversary, all of the, you know, love that kind of came out for those PS5 and, you know, controller like throwbacks with the gray, that was really popular. I think that they have a unique experience here where Astrobot did so well. People are hungry for kind of more of these types of games and titles that used to be a lot more ubiquitous. It kind of feels like, and I know there's indie games and there's always been game for kids, but it feels like, you know, a lot of gaming kind of grew up for a while and got real gritty. And then now some of those bigger studios are kind of going back to, you know, every game can be different. They don't all have to be the same. We could be doing a lot of different titles. And now that gaming has expanded so much more, you know, you don't have to particularly go with like, all right, everybody's making shooters now. Like there's enough people out there where you could still make good sales by making these other genres. So, you know, go PlayStation, do it. Bring those old characters and titles back.
Well, I think a lot of these, developers are in this position where they can do this, right? Like they have old IPs that they can bring out, um, dust off and either remake, or they can go ahead and continue 'em, right? So, I mean, some of the stuff that comes up to mind for me would be like Sly Cooper. Can we get a continuation on that story in some way? Twisted Metal. I know we had a PS3 game that came out years ago that wasn't exactly the best Twisted Metal from my understanding, but
Well, and they had
like,
that show last
yeah,
year or the year before.
perfect time to put out a new Twisted Metal if you got the show. I think season 2 is supposed to come out. Croc would be one on PS1
Croc
that
is getting a
it
re-release soon.
it is getting a re-release, but it's not getting like a third Croc, right? Like, or fourth
No,
Croc or anything
yeah.
like that, right? So I'd like to see it continued. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, take these series and Legend of Dragoon, right? Like, now's the time. Legend of Dragoon 2, right? Or Legend of Dragoon remake. All of these older IPs that you can, either reinvent or resurface in some way, like, do it. I mean, people are hungry for it, so might as well at this point. Something like that I would rebuy, Legend of Dragoon, or
Yeah, I
another classic RPG.
that's the one I think I go to a lot. I love that game. And it certainly would be cool to see
Mhm.
more of it, or it, you know, brought up and expanded upon in some ways.
Yeah, it's a cult classic. Um, I mean, I don't know so much of it being a cult classic nowadays because, like, I feel like everyone knows about that title.
Mhm.
But for a while there, it was sitting as like one of the more underrated RPGs. It's not
It's
my favorite,
on
but
yeah.
yeah.
It's on like every non-Final Fantasy RPG list whenever it's like, what are all the best non-Final Fantasy RPGs? It's always on there.
Yeah, Suikoden always at the top though. Suikoden 2, I should say.
Yeah, I really like Suikoden too.
Yeah, which
That was a good one.
the HD remaster remake thing came out recently too for 1 and 2. You should look
Oh,
into it.
and did you ever play or get the Ayuden 100 Heroes?
Mhm. Yeah, I got both Ayuden Chronicle Rising, I think it is, and the 100 Heroes. I need to play them still, of course, because I haven't talked
Maybe
about it.
in next year.
Well, and then Sea of Stars, I got that as well.
Oh, that one's so good.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
going to be
So,
all edited now. I saw an update last week on the completionist stuff.
hmm,
Because he was heavily featured in that game, and
yeah.
they wound up like editing him out. So I wonder, your copy probably has him like base edited out on there, I'd imagine.
I would assume so. Yeah. PS5 version. So probably. All right. Well, all the things that we want to see come back to life. Hopefully it does. But one thing we might not want to see come back to life is Psychosis on the TurboGrafx-16. In a sense, it has come back to life because it is on the Mini, right? All of the segues today. So Psychosis was released on PC Engine TurboGrafx-16. So really kind of like the same Mega Drive, Sega Genesis situation there. It was developed by Naxxit Soft, published by NEC, and then it was designed by Atsuhiro Motoyama. It was released in 1990. It is a horizontally scrolling shooter. That's kind of weird. It should just be a horizontal scrolling shooter. And reception is a 6 out of 10. So, Ryan, tell us what this First Cause is all about.
So the devil Yugar has possessed your mind and is trying to take you over. You fight back against his power by creating a ship in your mind and flying through, navigating your conscious, and bullet hell dodging and shooting your way through to freeing yourself from his control. So it is a wild side-scrolling shmup with tons of bullets to dodge and weird, just trippy visuals. It's got a very kind of like, organic and alien kind of mixed with some robotic kind of stuff. It's very like, I don't know, it's not as creepy as Geiger stuff, but it's kind of Geiger-esque, I would say. It's a very, somebody was smoking something or dropped some acid or something.
We should get the designer on here one day and be like, hey, Ryan said you're dropping acid. Is that correct? You might
Mr.
say, yeah.
Motoyama.
Yeah, Mr. Motoyama.
This
Did you
is
drop acid
extreme
before making this?
accusation against you.
How do you answer? How do you respond? So I mean, gameplay on this, I mean, as you would expect, right? It's a side-scrolling shooter, or shoot 'em up, I guess, right? Shmup. And no, I guess it's not shmup, right? It's a
They call them shmups.
yeah, I know, but I'm trying to figure out a way to say horizontal. It says shoot up, horizontal. I don't know. I'll figure it out one day. I was trying to create a dad joke. It's not working.
A
So
schmo
Schmo. Yeah, there you go.
with an H, a
Oh,
silent H.
it's a ho. So you obviously the screen kind of continues to move as alien or things are shooting at you. We're used to that, right? You pick up different power-ups along the way. The unique thing on this is that you do have this like shield, like two orbs that kind of follow you throughout when you pick them up. And those allow you to kind of like block shots and you can kind of rotate that. So if you're getting shot from the bottom constantly, you can kind of rotate those shields to be underneath your ship. So that way it's blocking shots, which is kind of cool. And you can kind of split those open or close them in and then rotate all around you. So that was one thing I noticed. That was a little different than I had experienced in prior games like this. But then outside of that, like kind of same general basis, right? Electric shield, weapons that can shoot,
Different types
X
of
amount.
shots, like big
Yeah.
arc shooting, and yeah, it was.
Yeah. Or
I mean,
faster shots.
to be honest, this was a hard ass game. We only did the first couple of levels, so
Correction, I did the first couple levels. You failed.
yes,
Yeah.
I was the first cause.
Brian heard First Cause far more times than I did. So your first go around, you got to whatever point. I got to the boss for level 1 on my first attempts.
Yeah,
No issue. Of course, screwed up after that a number of times, but then beat the boss, got into the second level pretty quickly at that point. And you know what? I thought it was difficult, but it wasn't as difficult to a lot of the other shmups that we've played in the past. I felt this might have actually been on the easier side, in my opinion, when it was all said and done. We've played some difficult ones, especially the side-scrolling style, like the ones that you kind of go top down. I feel like, or bottom up, those types of shmups, I think, are a lot easier to control in term, like I don't know, like a side-scrolling one requires you to kind of pay attention to what's underneath you and in front of you. Whereas when you have it like going up, you're just kind of looking at everything coming from the top down at you. And so
yeah,
it's
and there's
easier in
not
my
a lot
mind.
of like hills and stuff that you're gonna crash into.
Well, depending on the game. But yeah, Exactly. Like there's certain things you want to avoid depending on the game and how brutal they want to make it. But for the most part, you kind of have everything in front of you. There's no real worry about things coming up from behind you. Whereas in this type of game, it's, oh, I'm getting shot at from behind because something on the bottom or something like at the top still, plus what's in front of you. You got a lot more going on. And I feel it's harder for like the brain to kind of recognize what's going on screen via side scrolling as opposed to going bottom up. So,
Yeah, I would agree. I would
yeah.
agree.
So overall, though, I liked it. It wasn't terrible. Is it worth the
Yeah,
price though?
well, we'll find out. Complete in-box copy will run you $93.35.
Let's just say
That
no.
peaked that peaked at $122.50 back in January 2016. That is currently trending up. Loose copy will run you $63.48. That peaked at $98.99 back in March 2009. And that one is trending down. And yeah, I'm going to agree with John. This is a way, overpriced game. Even trying to get like the TurboGrafx Mini, I mean, that's like $300 or something. Is
It
that
is. I'm
right?
looking at it right now. Pre-owned is 300. If you want it brand new, it's 5.
Yeah. So
That was
this
a good
is just
investment for me.
one of those titles that is sadly beyond the reach of most people, but I really don't think it's something that you're going to lose sleep over. There's probably lots of great other shmups out there for a much more reasonable price. So I think we're going to just rubber stamp this one as inflated.
And honestly, a lot of the games on TurboGrafx-16 you'd probably consider inflated, because they're expensive, and that's why I got the TurboGrafx-16 Mini when I did. I paid $100 for that thing. I'm glad I got it because I
Yeah.
don't think I'd want to buy it now.
No.
Yeah, that is, and I have a complete
The
box art. So that's good.
the box art is a weird one on this one too.
Really, I didn't look at it yet.
Yeah, it doesn't entice me. It's like it's like the ship shooting at a giant eyeball with like a big claw and like a weird caterpillar or something. I don't know.
Well, it's that thing that we fought in level 1.
Yeah.
The orbs kind of fall. I don't know. That's an interesting cover. Well, I see what you're saying. I think, like, for the most part, it's a cool cover, but like a ship looks like a gun,
Mm-hmm.
like a
Yeah, it
laser
looks
beam
like
gun.
a laser shotgun or something.
Yeah, but I like the premise, right? Like, this devil is controlling your mind, and you're supposed to shoot up your own mind. Like,
None of that is apparent in the game,
well, no, of
by the
course not.
way. Like, I don't
But
know where they got that from. I mean, maybe if you beat the game, it gets a lot deeper on it.
well, I think some of it kind of requires you to like crack open the manual and read about the game and see what's in a box, like
Possibly.
that type of stuff. If you're doing that back then, it's like, oh, cool. Like, let me check out this game. Oh, okay,
Does
so that's what the
the
game is about.
does the TurboGrafx Mini have the like digital copies of like the box art and the manuals and stuff for you to flip through?
I don't know. I haven't checked. It might.
Because I think that's in like the SNES Mini.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look around on that one. So, all right.
All
Well,
right. Well, that's all we got for you this week, folks.
yeah, short episode. Well, kind of short. Well, we are going to be starting some RTS games here pretty soon. So keep an eye out for our future episodes. That'll be taking place on those. And it's funny, you had mentioned Command and Conquer because I said, hey, let's do, Command and Conquer on the PS1. Turns out I have Command and Conquer 3 on the Xbox 360, but we already decided our games.
I didn't
Next
even.
time.
Well, we're gonna do Halo Wars on the Xbox 360, anyways.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But still, could have had a more updated Command and Conquer game. That would have been
Mm-hmm.
interesting. Yeah. All right. Well, all of that said, this has been episode 322 of the Game Deflators podcast. My name's John,
I'm Ryan.
and thanks for listening.